Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm doing another cookery video today. Not quite sure you'd call it baking, but it's definitely cooking stuff. And what I'm making today is Winegums. Or for people outside the UK who don't know what Winegums are, they're basically little jelly candies which are flavoured with alcohol. Now traditionally, these things will have the alcohol burned off with the cooking process. They'll taste the alcohol, but you won't really taste the alcohol. Because of the way I'm doing these are different. These are alcoholic wine gums. So don't try if you're under 18 or under 21 or under 20, wherever you are from the age of out of drinking. And if you are under that age, why not do it with some orange juice instead? Because it'll still work. It just won't be alcoholic. Now, I've actually done 2 batches of these this weekend. So I'm not going to do all the processes with you today. But I'll tell you what to do first of all. You actually need 4 ingredients for this to work. And you also need a sous vide. Now a sous vide, I'm pretty sure you can do it other ways, but it makes it a lot easier to do. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need some fructose, basically some fruit sugar. You're going to need some corn syrup. If you're in the UK and corn syrup isn't in the shops, you can find it on Amazon and other Asian supermarkets normally. You're going to need some gelatin. Just some powdered gelatin. I have tried this recipe with agar. It really doesn't work. Because of the nature of the recipe, agar's properties don't really work with it. Sadly, I've actually got a vegetarian friend I'd like to do this for, but yeah. I tried that before, it didn't work. And the last thing you need is a booze. Which booze you'll go with is your choice. Because of the way this recipe works, it's basically flavour to taste. If you want to do it with whiskey, why not do a whiskey gum? To be fair, I'm not a whiskey drinker, so I'm not doing it with whiskey. And I say just 4 ingredients and a sous vide. And before you say, but Fudce, I don't have a sous vide. They're not too expensive actually anymore. I mean, I got mine for about 50 quid on Amazon the other day. And I've only had it about a few weeks. And I'm swearing by the bloody thing, it's fantastic. Once you've gone to sous vide, you're never going to go back. I mean, a sous vide steak is another topic to discuss another time. I'm getting completely on the randomness talking about sous vide now. That's what it does to you. You can probably see one of my ingredients up there, actually. That's that ingredient there, which I'm going to get to a bit later. But without further ado, let's get the scales out. Move that way a bit. And I've got this set up a bit awkward for you guys, I know. And I'm going to do all this in grams. I will try and put pound and ounces measurements in the comments as well, or in the description. And in the full ingredient list as well. And method. I've got this recipe from the Joule Sous Vide app. So full credit to them for making this recipe. This is just me telling you how to do it and my experiences with it. First thing you really need to do is measure out the gelatin. So a little tub here. The reason for a tub later. Make sure the scales are zeroed out. Thank you. And powdered gelatin. I'm using some Time Master powdered beef gelatin, but you can choose whatever you want. And you need 29 grams of this. Why 29? I have no idea, but it works, so I don't care. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 29 grams. There we are. It is going to look like a lot. That's because it kind of is a lot. It's actually a 500 gram bag I bought. There we are. 29 grams of gelatin. You normally wouldn't use that much gelatin, I'm pretty sure. But that's it. And you just put your gelatin to one side, because you're going to use that in a second. For this next step, you're going to need to have a whisk. I've got a crap old one here. It's actually a little bit damaged, but it's the right size for what job I want it for. And you want a bowl. You want to zero out the measurement again, because this is the same step again. Step 2, you need alcohol. Lovely sound that. For this one, I'm actually doing a, over here, Cranes of Cambridge Cranberry and Blood Orange Liqueur. Again, the traditional flavours of Winegums being port, sherry, claret, all the classic wines, but you can buy yourself a nice bottle of something interesting for it. You just use whatever's in the wine cupboard. That's basically what I did. We've had this one for a while. We didn't try it for a long time. We tried it, we like it. And so, we're doing it. And this, you need 100 grams. Yeah, I do realise using grams for alcohol is a bit weird, but that's what the recipe says, so I'm doing it. So 100 grams of liqueur. There we are. And that is 100 grams of liqueur. I'm going to move the scales to one side for now. I know it doesn't seem that much right now, but what you're literally going to do is toss that in there and whisk it. You want to whisk it until the gelatin has dissolved. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. So first of all, you throw it in there, like that. And as soon as you got it in there, start whisking. It's going to you can really feel the ooh, I can smell that blood orange. Oh. Now what you do with this is you literally just let it set. So leave it there for about 5-10 minutes while it sets. Now as I mentioned, my next step I'm not going to do here with you guys today. Mainly because I've done 2 batches this weekend. This is the thing you can prepare ahead of time if you do multiple batches if you don't have enough moulds. And you will need some jelly moulds in order to do this in. When I say jelly moulds, I mean little gummy bears or little jelly shapes. The classic type of silicone mould you can get on Amazon for a few quid. If you haven't got any of those, ice cube trays will work as well, although it won't work as nicely. But what you do in this next step is you take 135 grams of fructose, little sugar, effectively, fruit sugar, and 135 grams of corn syrup. You can weigh it into the same bowl, so put a bowl on the scales, weigh out 135 grams of sugar, or fructose, and then in the same bowl, bring the weight up to 270 grams for the corn syrup. And just stir it. Mix it thoroughly so that the sugar dissolves in the syrup. Now, a bit of a warning, guys. This requires a bit of muscle, a tough spoon, or whatever stirring implement you use, because it's going to turn into a really, really gloopy syrup. And here's one I prepared earlier. Now, as I mentioned, you're going to need jars of this one. You need some mason jars. And this is the mason jar I prepared last night with the syrup mixture in. So what I did, I actually made 2 batches of it. So I effectively made, instead of 135 grams of each, I did 270 grams of each. Mixed it together and separated it equally into 2 jars. Now, one of the interesting things is, even though you make 270 grams of syrup for a mixture, you only need 250 grams of syrup per jar. That means you are going to lose 20 grams of syrup. But that's okay, because when you do this recipe, you're not going to get all 270 grams out of your bowl. Unless you are some kind of genius with syrup getting hands, you're going to lose a bit of your syrup. That's why the recipe allows for a bit of loss. And so you're going to end up with syrup in a jar. And literally, you just put the syrup in the bottom of a jar like that. Put a jar to one side for now. As you can see, my gelatin is getting quite dry now. Getting quite jellified. It's almost where it needs to be. I actually mixed this a little bit after it had set a bit, so that's why it looks a bit awkward. Yours is going to look pretty much like a flat surface, as long as you don't mix it again yourself. Don't worry, that's going to change all in a moment anyway. And so the next step, I'm going to need to move you guys in order to do this one. So this next shot's going to be a little bit awkward. Is prepare your sous vide. Hey, welcome to the other side of the kitchen. I got my camera on a little handle here, so I apologise if it's a little bit shaky. But you need to get your sous vide. I've got mine here already, my rankle. Yeah, water bath. It's got to be deep enough to take the jar and a tiny bit on top of that. This is literally just about deep enough. I'm going to be getting a new tub eventually, but for now I'm using an old saucepan. What you need to do is set your temperature to 75 degrees. As you can see down here, it's already set, that's what I did last night. And set to an hour. And of course, press play. And what it's going to do, it's going to raise the temperature up to that temperature slowly. Now with a rankle, no idea how your sous vide will work, but with a rankle what will actually happen is when it gets to 73 degrees, it'll beep to tell you to put your thing in. When it gets to 75, it'll beep again saying, reach temperature, timer starting. And you set it for an hour. And so while that's doofering, I'm going to bring you back over to the side and do the next step. And so the next step's quite straightforward. You get your jar of syrup, you get your bowl of jelly, and literally you put this in there. Literally, that's all you do. It'll break up into weird little jellified lumps. And this is where you combine the two mixtures, but you don't mix it at this stage. I'd say your mixture is going to be a lot easier to manage than mine, because I was stupid, I whisked this after it had set a tiny bit. Again, don't worry too much if your powder isn't fully dissolved in your wine. That'll get sorted out in the next step as well, but you make sure it's mostly dissolved in the wine. You need to make sure you've got a set solid wine at this point, or liqueur in my case. And you just need to make sure that all your mixture is in your jar. There you are, it's mostly empty now, so that's done. I'm just going to quickly go wash my hands. And then you see it. Now, the reason why you use mason jars in particular is it's got a double seal. If you look at the lid here, it's got a little seal on it, so you put that on there. That itself doesn't work, and you get the jar lid there, and you seal it tight. Right, it's an airtight seal now. It's going to look a bit weird inside, but don't worry, it's going to look even weirder in a bit. And like I say, what all you want to do is, when your water gets up to temperature, pop that in your sous vide. If it isn't covered fully by water, top it up. Now, pro tip I like to do is, if you are going to use a sous vide like that, make sure that if you top your water up, put it in a kettle and don't quite boil it, but mostly boil it first of all. What that does, it means you don't add cold water into hot sous vide. Doesn't damage anything, but what you're doing there is you're lowering the temperature, which makes things a bit awkward. You add hot water, the temperature is going to be closer to the temperature you're cooking at, so your water's not exactly going to drop. Now, another thing which I use, which you don't have to, but I recommend you do have one, because it is useful to have, is a little squeezy jar. I mean, I've got this thing. Again, this cost me about £1 on Amazon, so again, it's not going to cost me earth. And, well, so basically that. Because this recipe is going to fill up that. We're nearly there. We're slowly but surely getting up to 22, and there you are. As I told you earlier, it would be when you get to 73. So all you do now is you get your jar and drop it in there. Now, if you notice, that hasn't covered it. So what I'm going to do now, I'll put my phone down. I'm going to get my hot water, as I promised you earlier. I'm going to tip a little bit in. Now, I know how to do that because I did this last night, and I know generally how much you need. But yeah, that is basically it in there. Now it's going to beep again in a second. Now it's got an hour to wait while it cooks. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you there. As you can see, we're getting quite close to being done on this now. Water level has receded a little bit, as you can probably tell. It's still covering the top of the lid, so that's fine. This is going to beep in a moment, so I do apologise for the headphone users. But when it beeps, remove carefully the jar from the water. Water's not boiling, but it's still very hot. It's 75 degrees. So you could very much injure yourself. So if you have yourself a jar lifter or a set of tongs which can lift a jar, use those. Otherwise, maybe let it cool a little bit before you move it. There we are. It's that. I am going to get the jar out myself. Now, I don't have any of those fancy things like jar lifters yet. That's something I do plan on getting at some point. What I have is going to seem crazy to you guys, I'm pretty sure. And yes, I'm getting it already because I'm going to need this. What I have is an oven glove, a really old mucky one. Because this is just basically to take my hands a little bit as I lift it up and drop it out. Oof, that's hot. Now I don't need that on anymore, so I'll turn the thing off. I'm going to let that water cool down. In the meantime, I'm going to take that jar back over to the work surface over there, and I'm going to show you what to do next. So yeah, I've got my jar out, I think. You may notice that it's slightly separated. Not that it was ever combined in the first place. This is where you open the jar. Again, be careful, it's going to be still hot. Oh, smell that. You can't, but you will do. And combine it. Basically just stir it. I've got a little spoon here. You can use a whisk, you can use a spatula. I've used a very long spoon. I think this one's meant for a Sunday or something like that, but it's a Monday, so that's what I'm doing this for. So yeah, now what you do, just leave that to cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now this is where it gets a bit fun and a bit messy, because it's time to get out your squeezer bottle. Again, if you don't have a squeezer bottle, don't worry. Just tip it into a mould itself. It can be a bit more messy, but it still works. So I'm going to put my spoon to one side now. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to pour my jelly into the mould. Again, you have to be a bit careful about this one. You don't want it to spill. As you can see, it's very much a liquid at this point in time. It will literally just pour. So I can get a better camera angle for you guys. I can, but I'm now pouring it down the side. Don't worry too much about a bit of spillage, because again, you are going to have a bit of leftover mixture. It will fill and bend some of this mould. So where was I? So I was tipping it in there, wasn't I? As much as you possibly can. Literally, I've got a bit more left in there, but I'm not going to get any more mould, so I can't really do much more there. But all you do is just cap it off. Now, because I spilt a bit, I'm actually going to slightly wipe this. You don't have to do this yourself, because you probably don't have a sticky bottle. I'm going to do it purely because it causes me grief if I'm grabbing onto something sticky, unless it's a stick. No idea why you've got the little mark there. I think that may be where it's got a bit cooler. Now you've got your jellies in your bottle. Now comes the fun bit. We get our moulds. I'm going to do the poos first. So you just decap it. Remove a nipple, I always say. Then squeeze it in there. As close to the top as you dare go. And you just repeat that process for each of the moulds. Don't forget, you can always top these up in a bit if you need to, so don't overflow. They will settle in and shrink a tiny bit whilst you're doing it. As you can see, that's basically what I'm doing right now. If you want to be extra special and you're doing 2 batches in one go of different colours, some moulds, specifically things like Lego and Jelly Bears, and will allow you to do multiple colours. So you can actually do 2 different flavours and colours in one thing. None of these moulds really allow that, so I can't really show you that. But it is an option if you've got a mould which will allow that. Start getting spurts in a second, so I think this might end up being the last one I do. I'll do this one here as well. So I've nearly got the air. Yeah, here we are, spurts. When you get to this section, there is still more left in there, but you need to be much careful over how you squeeze it. Because the more air bursts you get, the more air you get inside the jelly, and so you don't get the full clear, full effect of it being a single unified jelly. You end up getting little air pockets in your jelly. There you go. That is now pretty much empty. What I'd recommend with these is put them in hot soapy water and you'll eventually get the jelly out. But for now, put it to one side. Now the next thing you need to do is get out your plastic wrap or cling film or saran wrap, whatever you want to call it in your country. It's that plastic stuff you use to put over food to keep it fresh. And you literally just get a piece. I'll show you on this one for now. And you cover your jellies in it. You can do this in a couple of different ways. You can put jellies in a container and cover the container, or you can just do it directly to the mould like I'm doing here. It doesn't matter. The covering container makes it slightly better, trust me, because this, when you remove it, will cause a slight film on your jellies. You see how it's touching it? It'll cause that to be a little bit of a film, but it's not the end of the world. What you're basically doing is protecting the jellies from the direct chillness to make it easier to make a proper finish. Because sometimes when you chill things, they can go a little bit awkward. It's not quite freezer burn, but it's the same sort of nature. And you just repeat this process for all your moulds. Only do one thing sheet at a time, otherwise you will basically end up destroying the planet because you'll be in such a frustrating moment. Again, you don't have to use cling film or saran wrap, you can use whatever you want as long as the jellies are covered. And you pop them in the fridge. And that's what you do next, you just pop these in the fridge. You can pop them in the fridge for at least a couple of hours, but I like to leave them overnight. Once they're out of the fridge, you can coat them in a mixture of corn flour and sugar. 3 parts corn flour to 1 part sugar. Recommend powdered sugar or icing sugar if you're doing that. And for Americans it's cornstarch, not corn flour. Same difference really. Just mix the two together, coat them with it, and you'll end up with a sort of sugary sweet coating to make them less sticky. So I'm going to pop these away in the fridge now. And be careful when you lift them into the fridge because they aren't quite solid yet, and so they will tip. It is still a liquid, remember. Once your jellies have been in the fridge for a few hours, although to be preferably overnight, they are ready to be demoulded. Now, a bit of spoilers, I'm doing these slightly out of order. I'm actually recording this whilst my cranberry batch is cooking. I can actually look behind me and the time is now at 59 minutes. I've literally started recording this a minute after you heard the beeps. But yeah, I prepared the first batch last night. I've been in the fridge overnight. And so I'm now going to get ready to demould them. As you can probably tell when I actually put the jelly in the mould as well, it makes a decent amount actually. So I'm going to, first of all, get them demoulded. I'm going to put those two to one side for now. I'm going to demould, first of all, the big tray. I'm going to mould them directly into an old tub, literally an old sunflower spread tub, but yeah. You literally pop it out, and it should literally just peel away. You're doing this beautiful jellified circle. Now, if you want to know what flavour I did those with, as I mentioned earlier, I did a little peach liqueur, rose liqueur. It is Schnapps de Roses from Menorca. That is a really old bottle of liqueur, to be honest. I've not been to Menorca in years, but it's actually really nice. It's not overpowering. As you can see, these are nice and jellified. They are quite slimy at times, but I'm not quite sure if I'm going to leave them in that bowl. Now, the reason I'm doing this in 2 batches mainly, you can do it in 1 batch and do 2 jars at a time. Because the way it sous vide works, it keeps the water temperature constant. The reason why I'm doing it this way, I've only got the 1 set of moulds. So literally I don't have enough moulds to do 2 batches in one go. And also the reason why those are so shallow is because I didn't want to have lumps of jelly. So yeah, you literally just demold them all. Don't worry about stretching them too much when you put them out, because they are jellies, they are effectively jelly candies. They will flex as you get them out, but they will return to their original shape. Try and do this one better on camera for you guys. Realise I've been doing it slightly off camera. I have to say, it actually makes a surprising number. If any of you guys watching actually have any suggestions over vegetarian ones using agar, because the main reason why agar is such a pain to do this with, as much as I would love to be able to do vegetarian jellies, with this recipe you don't boil anything. The highest temperature you get is 75 degrees Celsius, and that's in the jar. In order to activate agar, you actually need to boil it. But agar is a powder, it's not a liquid. These ones, the rose flavoured ones, are almost like slightly more jelly, slightly more alcoholic Turkish Light. Because Turkish Light's got that rose flavouring as well. Once you're doing the same as I did before, just push your finger through and you get your jelly out. Yeah, that's how much you get from... Actually, slightly more than that technically, because I've eaten 4 so far. I've had 3 of the circles and 1 of the poos. That's literally what you end up with, though, when you do this. And I'm going to try and sort this out into a nicer collection. And I'm going to continue with the other ones when I've done that. You've already seen me mould them and see what they turn out like. Hopefully they turn out good. But I'll know in about 47 minutes. As ever, if you did like this video, be sure to like the video, subscribe for more video gaming content. If you want to see more cookery videos on my channel in the future, let me know. I've got a few recipes I like. I'm not a fantastic cook, as you can probably tell. So yeah guys, thank you very much for watching. The ingredients list, the instructions are in the description below. If you don't know how to sous vide yourself, but you know somebody with one, share it with them. Tell them to make it for you. Or pick one up yourself. I'll put a link to the wankle I've got in the description as well. It's a pretty good one. It's relatively cheap and easy to use. There's all manner of choices you can make. But yeah. Thanks for watching. A wonderful day. Bye bye.